Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight we are starting our Back to Nature Forum series, and I'm so excited for this. This is going to be something kind of unique for what I've done before. I've taught wellness classes before, but this one's different. This is where we all come together and we're just sharing our different experiences. Okay, we're sharing our different experiences on getting back to nature. And so, well, first off, hi, I'm Keely. It's nice to meet you. I have two wonderful friends. Actually, I've got a lot of friends here on the call tonight, but I have two friends that are planning on sharing tonight in the forum, Autumn Mcleay and Tracy Fitzu Agnew. I'm so glad they're here. They're waving for those of you who are watching us live. Hi, guys. I'm glad you're here. So if anybody would like to share what they're hoping to learn, let's just kind of do that real quick. Let's go around and just introduce yourself, just say hello real quick. And if there is something that you would like to learn tonight in particular, please say so. Go right ahead. Tell you what, Tracy, will you get us started, and then Autumn, and y'all will go around.
As far as introducing myself?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I've been on the wellness journey for many moons, like in most of my life, as in probably almost 40 years. So I always love learning, and I am super excited to hear a nugget that somebody else may share that will remind me of something I'm not doing that I need to do.
There you go. Awesome. Autumn, go ahead and say hi.
Hi, I'm Autumn Mcleay. I got into wellness when I got very sick as a college student, and it forced me to really reevaluate every part of my life, including health. Let me think. I am married to Preston. We do not have any kids, but we do have a cat, hence my comment earlier. Anyway, I am looking forward to learning more from everyone in our chat, but specifically our other two contributors. And yeah, I'm always looking for ways to improve my health.
Awesome. Yay. Tammy, are you looking for anything in particular tonight?
Three-year-old congestion in the lungs. I just gave her a breathing treatment with colloidal, however you say it, silver and sniffles. I don't know if that'll work. Any other suggestions? I'm trying to keep her from taking her to the, that other person.
Right. I bet we could share some of our experiences at the end for sure. We can give you some ideas and tips we've done ourselves. So yes, I jotted it down. Abby, do you have anything that you would like to learn tonight?
I don't have anything in particular. I was just looking forward to learning anything and all things new. I continue to just be a sponge because I want to continue to learn. So I'm soaking it in.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Dina, did you have something you were hoping to learn?
I just want to keep learning what I've been learning recently. I feel like on the last 2 weeks, I've learned a lot about a lot of things. And so, I've just making small changes so far up to this point, I feel like it's benefited me greatly, and I can tell. And so, a lot of times when I try to be healthy, like on a so-called diet, like I've got to lose weight and I've got this number in my mind. And if I don't have that, then I just fall off. Well, this has been so different because 2 days in, I feel different. I may not look different. And I mean, no one may able to notice anything different about me, but I truly feel different. So that's what I'm looking to find more things to add to what I've already learned to continue the journey.
Awesome. Very good. Chloe, hey, I'm glad you're here. Do you have anything you hope to learn tonight?
Not necessarily anything super specific. I'm just kind of interested in general wellness as well. This has been a really stressful week at work for me, so maybe some relaxation techniques.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Awesome. Jotting that down. I bet we could help you out with that for sure. Okay, awesome. I love getting to hear, and that's what I want to do with this forum. I want to know what you guys are hoping to learn. So hopefully we can answer those questions, or some of us can help and at least contribute to that as well. So what we're doing right now with this series, we're getting back to nature, right? Most people, our inspiration was, we noticed that there's a lot of people, at least ourselves included, that we really want to get back to nature, natural choices, less chemicals, eating good foods, okay, foods that nourish, how to keep a healthy, happy outlook every day. These are things that pretty much everybody wants, right? Okay, a lot of people want that, but some of us really aren't sure how to start and maybe even where to start, okay? And so that's kind of what we did with creating this series, is we're trying to lay a foundation and show you some starting points and how to do it, how to make it fit your budget as well. Okay, that's how we all started. That's how we all started. I didn't even mention it. It's been almost decades now for me. Well, actually, it's been at least a decade since I really journeyed into wellness too. And my health took a turn for the worse. And I realized that I'm my best health advocate. And so I started doing a lot of research and realized that there was a lot of things I could do by coming closer to nature. Okay, by starting to change how I ate, by ditching toxins out of my house. Okay, different things like that. And so in this journey, I've learned a lot. I am so much healthier. My family's benefited from it. And that's why we're here sharing. It's because we want to share our experiences, because it helped us so much. A lot of us were praying for answers and found it. And so that's why we're sharing with you guys tonight. Okay, please note that none of us here on the call are medical professionals. Okay, we're not here to diagnose or prescribe, to treat, or to cure any disease. Okay, that's not our job. All right, we are researchers and we're here to share our experiences with you. So we encourage you to research yourself. That's where we started. We might can give you some pointers. We might can point you in some direction. Okay, that's what we're doing tonight. So our guidebook tonight, and wow, I thought I had it right here. And Autumn might have it beside her. Can you hold that up for us, Autumn? Yes, just say something so the screen will pop over to you.
Yeah, so this is Road to Wellness by Deborah Rayburn and Laura Hopkins, and I've been thoroughly impressed. I've only had it since Monday, because Keely brought it over on my birthday, but it's a really excellent book that covers so many important topics, and it's kind of our roadmap, if you will, for what we're doing in the next few weeks.
Yes, exactly. Because there's so much to cover. And when you start to get into wellness and natural living, it's like, wow, where do I start? What do I do? How am I going to remember all of this? I get it. It can be overwhelming, but we're going to simplify that for you. We're going to do that through this series. But also, if you want to get that guidebook, it's fantastic. A great place that you can purchase it is growinghealthyhomes.com. Tracy, do you mind typing that in the chat room for everybody? growinghealthyhomes.com. Excellent resource place. There's all the different kinds of wellness resources in that, and they're all reliable, great authors, but that's a really good place to purchase that particular book. So breathing, let's start right there. Critical. First thing we do when we're born, right? There we go. We take a breath. And a lot of times we forget about it. I know it sounds funny, but it's something that our brain, it's an automatic response, right? It's something that God built in us that we just automatically breathe. But sometimes we forget how to breathe, or we forget to completely exhale or completely inhale. Or maybe we breathe just from the top of our lungs, and our lungs fill up almost our whole chest cavity, and we're not filling up all the different lobes of our lungs. Okay? Think about what a difference that can make in how you breathe. Chloe mentioned just a minute ago how she wants to relax. It's been a tough week. Breathing exercises, being very mindful of your breathing, are an amazing way to relax yourself. There's something called Foursquare Breathing. When I learned about this, I thought this was so cool. So what does that Foursquare Breathing mean? It means breathing in and breathing out to the count of 4. Okay, but you're thinking of it like a square. So let me give you an example. I'll just do it. So I'm going to completely exhale because I've already kind of got a breath. Hold. hold. Okay, that wasn't a great description. So I'm holding for the count of 4, inhaling for the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, exhaling for the count of 4. Okay, so it's just making a square, but that is being very mindful. And I really didn't get a good example. You could practice it on your own, but you doing that, being very focused with that, it's just a great way to be mindful. Any moment where you feel super stressed or super anxious, if you're feeling like that, Foursquare breathing is amazing, okay, to bring yourself down, okay? I think all of us, at least 3 of us here have practiced Foursquare breathing before, especially in times of anxiousness. There was something that Autumn mentioned to me when we were kind of discussing about this, about a different set of time breathing. Autumn, do you want to share that now?
Sure, it's very similar to the Foursquare. Typically, I get a deeper relaxation from the longer method, which is breathing in for 5 beats, 5 seconds, holding for 7, and then releasing for 9. So it really takes all the air out of your lungs, and you can just feel your muscles just kind of melting. And anyway, that's a great feeling. And when I'm stressed out or anxious, that is such a good tool to have in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure. And even when you're doing that, a lot of times you'll see, like if you've ever practiced martial arts or even just yoga, if you've ever done yoga or something, they emphasize breath. Breath is critical for any of those different practices, okay? And they emphasize a lot of times of breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, that's another way of being mindful breathing. Tracy, you were talking about this. Remind me what this was, of how it's like actually completely deflating lungs. Tell me what that was again.
Okay, so when you breathe in through your nose, we were created to have filtration systems in there. And so therefore, when we breathe it in, it's been being at least filtered somewhat. If you breathe through your mouth, we all know what happens, you swallow the bugs, right? But when you exhale, the exhaling is actually releasing toxins from within your lungs, because that is the whole purpose, is the exhale. Reason why I even mentioned this is because when my kids were super young, I have 5 kids and lots of grandkids, and I've been around kids all my life. I didn't say that earlier. I'm a retired midwife. One mentioned a baby does not breathe until it hits air.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why babies born underwater, they're perfectly fine until it hits air. And that's when the body knows to breathe, right? So sometimes when we are holding our breath, it's because we don't have enough oxygen going in, or exposure to oxygen. So that's why what I have found helps when somebody is in a intense moment, not just a regular that they have the time to do the Foursquare or the 5-7-9. Those are both great. I've done them both. Is where you take 2 short, quick breaths. And what that does is when you take that quick breath in, you're not getting very much oxygen in. And when you exhale, you are exhaling all that carbon dioxide, and it's forcing your body to grab a hold of that extra oxygen already in your blood system, and it forces your body to start functioning better and to relax. So yes, so the exhaling is a great reminder that you are blowing out toxins, any emotions, that if you are anxious, to make sure you are exhaling and blowing all that gunk out, because we don't need to keep it in.
Yeah. You know, that's really interesting you mentioned that, because it just made me think immediately of whenever, if somebody's having an episode where they're crying, or you watch your child cry, what do? Naturally. They naturally do that, and it calms and it resets you when you do that. So we're wired to do that.
Well, and even if a person is in a asthma attack of some form, we would normally say breathe. Well, that's not really what they need to do, because they can't get any more oxygen in, because everything is so constricted. You have to remind them to breathe out, exhale, blow it, make it very big and forceful if you have to, so that when your body completely exhales, it will be able to get a bigger, deeper breath in to be able to help calm.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Autumn, why don't you share with us about posture and mouth position? I know you've been recently experiencing this lately.
Right. So, since probably the end of high school, I have suffered with pretty severe brain fog, and besides my general wellness, which I've improved exponentially over the past several years, I was still experiencing really bad brain fog. I could hardly read a book. It was very difficult for me. So anyway, I went to a dentist in Dallas. Her name is Jill Umbrello, and she is incredible. My sister goes to her as well. But she noticed immediately that my airway seemed small, and she said, I bet that with the inflammation that you're experiencing, even though you're doing all the right things, that you're not breathing correctly. Probably during the day, but specifically at night. And I did a sleep test, and my oxygen levels dropped to 70 consistently during the night. Yeah, pretty severe. And so no wonder I was dealing with that. And so anyway, they fitted me with a mouth guard that I sleep with every night now. And my oxygen levels stayed in the 90s when I did that second sleep test. So especially if you feel like you're struggling sleeping, get a sleep test, do some research in that regard. And sleeping at night can be make or break for your body. Breathing is really important for inflammation.
Absolutely. And that's something I'm not going to go into a lot of talk here, but just something for you guys to note. You can jot down and research yourself. Look into tongue ties as well. There's a lot of research into that. And that's kind of actually probably what is happening with that mouth guard, is it's bringing it out, isn't it, to give more space here. But
right, it essentially sets my bottom jaw out just a touch.
Yes.
To open my airway. So yeah, exactly. Keely and I were talking about that, and she mentioned tongue ties, and my mind was kind of blown. So hopefully some of you can use that information as well.
Yeah, guys, it's amazing. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, I just have to mention it because you mentioned tongue ties, just so you know that even babies, when they have the clipping, it only improves it by about 5%, the actual clip. So the best thing to do actually for tongue tie is exercising and taking your finger and massaging it to help loosen it up. Just like if you had scar tissue on your hands or something, the rubbing and massaging it can help break down that scar tissue. It can do the same for the frenulum here and the bottom lip and even the posterior ties. Just FYI, because many times the clips does not really improve it much. It does, but not completely.
Right. You guys, if you want to also look more into myofascial therapy, that's what that whole study is. And there are specialists that do that. And we actually know some people. So hit us up later if you need that information. Let's talk a little bit more about we're going to try to move on to breathing. We love talking. You can already tell we love talking about these subjects. But just with the mindful breathing, figure out when can you make time, or just set a timer. I know Autumn mentioned there was an Insight timer, which is a free app that she had just for guided breathing. It's a free app you guys could download, and it could just help you you could set reminders on that. You think about like when you're in the car. When you're in the car, you could say, I'm going to be mindful breathing right now. When I'm in the shower, if you've got a good water system in your shower, that's a great time to take some good deep breaths, okay? Before worship, before prayer, it helps, like Autumn was mentioning, it's going to clear your head, that brain fog and everything, okay? Maybe when you're checking the mail, when you're walking, okay? Walking is perfect time to be mindful with your breathing, right? Or exercise, absolutely. So that's, excuse me, breathing puts you in the parasympathetic mode, which will digest your food better. That's something that if you ever go to a chiropractor, you'll hear them talk about parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Okay, there you go. Research that up. That also has an effect on your mood. Was there anything you wanted to add to that real quickly, Autumn?
Sure. So essentially the idea is when you're not breathing before you eat, before a meal, if you're not relaxed and in that rest and digest mode, that parasympathetic mode, when you're in that fight or flight, that sympathetic mode, your blood is going to go to your muscles and not to your digestive system where you need it whenever you're digesting something.
Yes, very good. Nice, simple. Let's move on to movement. Move on to movement. Okay, so movement's important. We get this. Tracy's moving right now. She does this all the time. She works from home and she sits on her bouncy ball and she will move when she's at her desk. Sometimes we're having calls and there she goes. So yes. Okay, so movement's awesome. Check her out. Go ahead, Tracy. Tell us what you're doing. Just go for it.
Well, I couldn't help it. You told him to watch me, so I had to do. All right. So most of the time when I'm on a Zoom call, I have my video turned off because I can't be still. I have a exercise ball. That's my computer desk. And when I'm sitting down, I'm on that. And my computer desk also turns into a stand-up desk. So I do that. But when I'm on a Zoom call, I actually have 2 canned goods. They weigh 16 ounces, so that's a pound each, something that most all of us have in our home. And I actually do this to get generalized movement in all parts of my body.
There you go. Easy.
Simple, easy.
Absolutely. It's so easy. So everyone has 10 to 15 minutes a day. Everybody does. You may have to plan it. You may think you don't, but you do. You have time to move and be purposeful with your movement. Okay, guys, walking, we're going to hear us mention this several times. Walking is amazing. We're designed to walk, okay? Walking is going to help you with your breathing, and it's an easy way to move, okay? It's also going to tie into the light we're going to talk about in just a minute too. Another idea for movement, Tai Chi, stretching, yoga, okay? These are all gentle forms of movement. We mentioned walking because honestly, most people between stretching and walking, most people at any different kind of fitness level can do it, okay? Now the duration, the length of time, I mean, like how long you're going and how the distance of how far you're going, that doesn't matter as much as just starting, right? You just got to start moving. Moving is the most important thing. We're not designed to live a sedentary lifestyle. And yet in America, that's what we often do, right? And we have desk jobs, okay? And we sit too long, okay? When you are moving, you're pumping your lymphatic system. And Autumn and I were talking about this yesterday about how it's interesting that we do not have a specific pump in our body, like our heart pumps our blood, right? Well, we don't have like a lymph heart or something that pumps our lymph. Our body's designed to move. The movement of our muscles is actually what is guiding the lymph through, okay? So you have to move in order to get your lymph moving. Makes a big difference on your immune system. Autumn, go ahead and share your story. You had a story you wanted to share about that.
Yes. So in honor of one of my dear friends who passed away, we walked 60 miles last November, so 2 miles a day. And I, at the beginning, this is an unintended side effect, but I had swollen lymph nodes for years because of my chronic illnesses, and I could never really get them to go down for an extended period of time. But after that month, after doing so much walking, I have not had a problem since. So walking is really incredible at moving your lymph. Now, I will say I felt sick sometimes in that month, and it was from my lymph draining, but it is so worth it for the benefits that come later.
Absolutely. So guys, what is the best exercise? Do you know? It's the one you'll do. That is the best exercise, okay? We're not going to here to tell you what's the best one. It's the one you enjoy, the movement that you enjoy. Okay, that's it. Be consistent in it. Plan it out, find it, make it happen. Wanted to mention, and Tracy, I think you had something you wanted to say. Do you want to go ahead and add it in? She's thinking about it. Oh, it's okay.
About lymphatic?
I thought you were raising your hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was saying walking. The one that you'll do.
Yeah. It really is.
Well,
I think it is. Exactly.
I do want to say one thing. If you have in your mind that you're saying, I can't do this, or I can't do this or that, just say to yourself, I can walk one direction for 1 minute, turn around and walk back. You just walked for 2 minutes. If that's more than you've ever done, awesome, way to go. The next time you do it, walk in one direction for 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Or if you were winded, do 1 minute for the first 2 or 3 days. But start somewhere, because that's what's going to get you breathing better and moving. And yes, so no, I didn't raise my hand. That's why I was like, oh, what did I do? Sorry.
No. That's great. That's fantastic. I totally agree with you there. So I'm going to mention expensive exercise equipment. If we're just starting out on our road to wellness, I'm going to tell you right now, don't invest in the expensive exercise equipment just yet. Okay. Here's why. You can do things for free. You can start with the walking. You can start by lifting the cans. You can use body weight exercises. Guys, that's amazing. I mean, there's so many different, people get ripped doing body weight exercises. Okay. I mean, you can do that. All right. So just start there. If you really like, dude, I want to do weights. That is my thing. I want to do weights. I'm going to get my whole self a home gym. Wait, go to a gym. Go try it out. Go see if that fits you. If you think swimming is going to be your thing, go to a place like a wellness center. Try swimming there. See if you keep it up. Just try it out before you invest a large sum of money into it. Okay. Start with what you have. Start with what you have. All right. People don't realize how little mobility they have. So stretching is important no matter what you're doing. This is why a lot of times with any exercises, you've got like a warm up and a cool down, right? And it usually involves a little bit of stretching. That's so important. With our sedentary lifestyles, the older we get, the more tight we get too. It's very important to stretch. It's always a good idea after you have purposely moved to stretch afterwards. Your muscles are already warm, they're pliable. It's a perfect time to do just a little bit of stretches. Seriously, do your best to touch your toes, okay? Just seriously, any kind of movement you think is stretching, but I personally love doing yoga and Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a very gentle way to start, surely is. But those really make a big difference. Let's see, Autumn, you had something that you wanted to share. Did you find that information about physically moving forward?
I didn't find exactly what I was looking for, but I did find something that corroborates that. So basically the idea is when you physically move forward, you also mentally move forward. You get past that mental block that a lot of times you have. If you'll just get out and do it, get out and take that walk, you're gonna reap the benefits mentally. I was looking up at a article from Harvard Health, and it's a two-way street. When you're anxious, you're going to be rushing around and anxious. When you're sad, you're going to be sedentary. But it's a two-way street. Your mind can affect your movement, but your movement can also affect your mind. So it's important to remember that, we are in charge of our mental state, and we can do things to help it, including just taking a 15-minute walk.
Absolutely. That's so important. Thank you for sharing that. So schedule your exercise. Make sure it happens. Our lives are busy. If you don't schedule it in, especially if you're kind of hesitant to start, it won't happen. Okay? So schedule it in. Guess what, guys? Preparing for this, I'm like, I have got to make sure I move every day. Do I move purposely pretty frequently? Yes, but I don't every day. And that's changing right now. It's already changed the last 2 days. I've been on walks. It's been fantastic. It clears my mind. I could call somebody if I want to tell them I walk. I purposely choose not to. I want to experience the nature, and I have loved it. It's been wonderful. My husband joined me the last 2 times. It's been good. We've had good chats. So it's been so good. So Tracy, tell us more about sweating. It goes along with the movement, kind of what we were talking about, and the lymphatics. So tell us more about that.
Yes. So most of my life, I have never sweat. I just don't sweat. It has to be like 110 degrees outside and like super muggy, and I just don't sweat, which leads to lots of health issues, right? Because your body is intended to sweat to release toxins. So years ago, about 5 years ago, I bought me an infrared sauna for me to be able to sweat, and it's amazing, right? But when I moved here, I couldn't bring it with me. It's still in my other house, long story, but I went ahead and bought me a sauna blanket. I don't know if you know about those, but they're little blankets. You can lay it on your bed, you sleep in it. You lay in it, and you zip yourself up, and you get super hot. But what sweating does is it detoxes. It also helps increase your endorphins, so you're happier. It is super good to do all that. That's why when you're in the sauna, this is just a little fun fact. Hyperthermia, breathing super hot air, especially in the nasal cavities, is really good to keep things from living in your body that shouldn't live there. Everybody know what I'm talking about?
Gotcha.
I sure hope so. So get in a hot area. That's why that during the summertime, and if you are outside walking, getting fresh air, your body is breathing in this heat and it cleans out and kills a lot of the stuff that is growing in there. So that was just a side note about sweating, getting hot. I recently have been in I went to like a hydrotherapy, and the whole purpose of it was to get hot, take cold shower, get hot and sweaty, take a cold shower, get all hot again and cold. Because when you are going back and forth, that is actually putting your body into a way that it is releasing the toxins. So that's where sweating is super, super good. And when I started forcing myself to sweat, and I have done many things to make myself sweat. I live in West Texas. It's super hot. We had it felt like 112 the other day. I was in my backyard and in the sun, not sweating. Isn't that super sad? So sweating is super good for you. Is that as far as you wanted me to go? Do you want to talk about the rest?
Whatever. You go for it if you want to.
Okay, so taking a hot bath, getting in a super hot bath as hot as you can will also help force your body into that way of getting the toxins out. But if you get into a warm bath, that's going to be more of a relaxing and you absorbing from the outside. So you need it to be hot to stimulate the lymphatic system. I do want to mention that if you are taking baths, super important to have a filter in your shower. Because the things that are in the water is not the best, especially if you're getting in it and you're trying to detox. Guess what's happening? You're absorbing all those toxins. So make sure you have the best filter you can get. You can get them pretty inexpensive. Any kind of filter is better than no filter.
Absolutely.
Again, baby steps. Do what you can. And then I have personally done cryotherapy. I don't know if you know what that is. It's where you get into a chamber. It's super, super cold. I do all sorts of things to throw my body into that surprise, because that helps your body to produce collagen and so many good things. So anyway, I love sweating. I think sweating is super good for me. And when I do sweat, I go, yes, right? Because I know it's good for me. So anyway, I just get super excited about sweating. That's
great. I love that. And I think that, especially like with the detox fast, I know I personally love to do those. And they help even with your emotions too. Oh man, that can really just help reset my whole day by taking a detox bath. And I actually like to use cypress essential oil. I'll take cypress essential oil and add that in with some Epsom salts. Epsom salts are really good to add into any bath that you plan to soak in. They also kind of help neutralize some of the nasties that are in water as well. But your body loves minerals. We're going to talk about that on another Back to Nature. We're going to talk a lot more about minerals, but your body loves minerals. And so getting that bathtub with the Epsom salts and the cypress loves to help things move. Okay, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about movement, and cypress loves to encourage that. Okay, and so that's why I personally choose to add that in with my baths. And to kind of copy, let's think about what could we do with that, the hot therapy and the cold therapy to help things move, of what Tracy was talking about. We could easily do that and recreate it in a shower, can we not? That's actually what my husband does. He read about it one time about how he loves to take hot showers, but he started turning off the hot completely at the end of his showers to do a little bit of a cold shower. And he's like, I hated it at first. He only did it for like 30 seconds, but he's increased it to where he does it for like a full minute at the end. And by doing that, it helps his body relax. It sounds amazing, but it does. It helps his body to relax. And I know Tracy, when she was talking about that to me, about what she did, she said it felt like the most amazing massage ever after that, because think about what your muscles are doing. They're contracting and relaxing the whole time. So really cool how that's another way to have movement, something to kind of think maybe outside the box of how else can we get our bodies to move. Let's see. let's go ahead and go into grounding. Tracy, talk to us about grounding. I know that you've done this a lot. This is an area I need to grow in personally.
Well, again, I've probably done it a little bit longer, so I may forget about all the basics, because living well has been very important to me since my first child was born. She could not handle a lot of the toxic load from cleaning supplies. So I've learned about living well and living more naturally for a long time. But the grounding part I didn't understand because I am a super sensitive person, and I would be going, ooh, and I thought I was just feeling all this stuff and not realizing that was my own lack of being able to be present and being grounded in who I am and not allowing my brain to go crazy. And so I found that, and I know Autumn has something that she wants to share about grounding as well. So I'll try not to share her thunder, but I love going barefoot. I've always loved going barefoot, but because I like to test things, I do a lot of things to be grounded. I walk barefoot. I make sure that I eat a lot of good real foods, very mineral rich foods, because the more mineral rich you are, because we are electrical beings, the earth is an electrical being. When we are electrically able to connect better, that helps us to be better grounded. And so I do a lot of things, including these bracelets like this. It's weird how this bracelet can help me be more grounded. And at first I thought that is just way weird. There's no way a little bracelet with these little stones in it are going to help me be more grounded. But if I think about, stones are also have a frequency that's going to match with the earth and going to help me be more grounded. So I wear this one. You can get them that are way too expensive. They work just as good as the cheap ones off of Amazon, but it helps me to be more grounded. But I have tested this to see if I am more grounded with it and without it. I am more grounded with it. I've also tested it when I was barefoot inside my house. And I am still more grounded barefoot inside my house than I am with shoes on. So even inside my house, I go without shoes. I have tested outside whether I'm more grounded barefoot, and we all know we are. But you're still more grounded even with shoes on outside than you are on concrete or in your house. But the number one place that you are going to be the most grounded is by the sea, by salt water, anywhere closest. And so that's why they actually call it a blue space, that when you are in that area by the beach, bluish waters, your body gets into a specific relaxation mode. And to me, I don't like to call it relaxation. It's more of a specific grounding that you don't get anywhere else. And that's why most people really, if it's not super hot, really, really enjoy and feel relaxed when they go to the beach. So grounding is super, super big. I use a lot of gemstones around my house, which we're going to talk about that later. So grounding is super, super big for me. I purposely go outside with myself and my grandkids, and I'll say, everybody take off your shoes and we're going outside, right? Okay, I'll let Autumn say what she wants to say, and then we can go from there.
Sure. I don't have, too much to add to that, but basically, the idea of grounding, earthing is what it's called sometimes, putting your bare feet on the earth is the earth emits these negative ions that really combat inflammation. And there are several medical studies that have been done, and that's for your own research. But it definitely combats inflammation. And so all of us deal with inflammation, everybody. So everybody can benefit. And especially we've talked about walking and how vital that can be. So how about after you take your 10-15 minute walk or whatever it is, you come home and you put your lawn chair out and you stick your feet on the bare ground. Or if you want to choose, like Tracy was saying, you can do that too. But and then rehydrate with your vitality drops or whatever you want. rehydrate, and you can do so many important things for your health within a 15, 20, 30-minute period. So anyway, I guess that's basically all I needed to say.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I learned a lot. Even I don't think I've ever heard of the term blue space. So that was very cool. I get it because I've experienced it before. I totally get that. Question for Tracy. Blue space by the sea, could that not also happen like with any flowing, moving water? Would that also happen the same, like a river or something?
Yes, it is very similar. It's just a deeper, and that's why so many people love going to the lake, going to a body of water, sitting by the stream, anything that's moving and flowing, even a pond if it has like a spring coming into it, but it's even greater in a salt water.
Right.
Well, and that goes back to the minerals, because yes, we are beings that need electrical beings that need those minerals. And so somebody asked, what is grounding? What does grounded mean? That is super hard to explain. But if you are anxious, if you're flighty, if you can't focus on any one thing, if you just go from here to there or here to there, and you don't feel at peace in your heart or your spirit or a calmness, then you're not grounded. Mm-hmm. So that's the best way for me to explain it. And a lot of us can even have some of those reactions when we are around a lot of what they call EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Mm-hmm. And that's why it interrupts with our how we feel and how our electrical bodies respond. So that's where like these grounding bracelets come in, and that's where gemstones come in, like salt rocks. Have you ever used a salt rock or a lighted salt rock? It actually helps reduce a lot of the extra EMFs that are going around your house. I actually have one in every one of my rooms. I know you can't see it, but there's one right here. And right here, I have, I do use essential oils, and those also help. And I diffuse in every house too, but every room. But using the salt rocks and all of that helps with the EMF, along with the gemstones and the oils. So there are lots of studies on PubMed. You can type in EMF or electromagnetic frequencies, and you can see a lot of the damaging things that it does for us, but especially emotionally and mental focus. Mm-hmm. I hope that answered the question.
I want to jump in and add something as far as kids go. And the grounding, when kids can't regulate very well and they're whiny 1 minute or hyper or whatever, taking them outside, going barefoot and swinging. I have learned that if you put them on a swing, we have a big square swing that we can lay on, or the big porch swing where we can just sit and snuggle together. Just that rocking movement kind of reorganizes the energy within to flow smoother, I guess, slower. And so that helps. It's helped mine a couple of times calm down. I've just taken them out to swing to get them to bed some nights.
That's excellent. Yeah, absolutely. And there's studies about that too, Jenny. Thank you for sharing that. That's a great tip. And I know when I was a little girl and I was getting too crazy, or if we were whiny or whatever, guess what Mama said? Get outside. That would always set us straight. And, it's the same for us. When we're feeling whiny and needy, or if we're feeling like a bump on a log and we're depressed, get yourself outside. That's what this whole thing is about right here. This whole session we're talking about is getting back to nature. Okay, so get yourself outside. I love what Chloe said in here. She said a lot of things in our environment have a positive charge, especially electronics. We're looking at computer screens or cell phones right now, right? And it interferes with our natural rhythm. Absolutely. Getting exposed to negative charges in nature can help bring us back into balance. That's it. And that goes back into the EMFs. Guys, go research it. Go check it out. You see, Tracy mentioned diffusers. You see right here, there's my diffuser going back there with a nice little pretty diffuser. And so diffusing essential oils does help with that. I love rock salt lamps. And that kind of goes right back into our next point. Our last point is light. We're going to talk about the importance of light. So think about our grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, okay? They got up with the sun and they went to bed when it went down, right? Okay. They pattern their lives after the light in that sense. And that's how our ancestors did as well. As we get into fall and winter, we have to be more mindful, because what happens to our days? They get shorter, right? The light gets shorter. It's very important to expose yourself to natural light. Okay. And remember, we were talking about how sedentary lifestyle, stay in the house. If you're just in the house all day long, okay, and it's, if you can just step outside and get you some sunlight for just a set amount of time, okay, however long you want that to be. And it's important to do that at certain times of the day. Tracy and I were talking about that earlier today, that it's really important to do that in the morning. If you get out in the morning time, the less harmful rays of the sun are lowered, right? Okay, that's a better time to get that nice sunlight. It also helps recharge you. It affects your, what is the word? Circadian rhythm. Okay, that's a fancy word. Talk about your sleep cycle. That's what it is, your sleep cycle. So being exposed to that natural sunlight helps reset your sleep cycle. So if you're one that you're like, I don't sleep well at night, well, what are you doing? Are you actually exposing yourself to sunlight, or are you exposing yourself to artificial light a lot? Are you looking at a screen all day long? Are you looking at a screen up until the late nights of the hour, late nights? I mean, think about it. What are you doing to your brain? You're telling it it's time to wake up and get going. If you're exposing yourself to all those fake lights, basically, okay? The Danish people are known for their love of natural lighting. The Danish people, there's studies about the Danish people. It's so cool. They are known as the happiest people on earth. It's interesting. They have a whole culture called Hygge. Hygge is spelled Hygge. Go look it up. It's cool stuff. It's so cool. But it's all about them getting back to nature, getting back to their heritage, their roots of how did our grandparents do it? How did our great grandparents do it? That's what that whole culture is about with the Hygge, okay? But Hygge lighting is low lighting, relaxing, calming. Think firelight, sunsets, candlelight, warm Christmas lights. Doesn't that just make you feel all warm and nice and fuzzy inside just thinking about it? Think about what that does to you emotionally, but it's also putting your brain where it needs to be. It's helping you with those sleep cycles. It's helping you be calm. They have to be really careful about how much light exposure they get, because they're really far north and they actually don't have near as much sunlight, especially in the wintertime. Okay, and so they have to make sure they're getting the right kind of light in their daily routines. Okay, let's talk about even light in the immune system. What vitamin is boosted by sunlight? Vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge for your immune system. We've heard lots of different things about it in the last couple of years. In 2020 and 2021, we heard a lot about vitamin D and its importance. You can increase your vitamin D by sunlight, okay? Your skin likes to make it, okay? Gets out there and it gets that. Tracy just got back from Mexico and she was telling me all about, she had an awesome trip. She's just glowing over there. Tell us about your trip and tell us about all that lovely beach sunlight you got and what it did for you.
Well, let me tell you, I am an extrovert, big time. And with everything, well, and I moved recently, so I don't have a big support or friendship here in person. And so I really needed to get some happy emotions going. So I enjoy being in the sun. I said earlier, I like the heat, I like the sun, but for many years, my skin did not like the sun. And every time I went in the sun, I came home not happy and miserable, and several times even hospitalized from not being happy in the sun. They called it a poisoning from the sun. But my belief system is this. I don't think that, okay, I'm a believer, so I hope I don't offend anybody, but I don't believe that God is going to create us to not be around something he created. I mean, he put it in the sky for so many hours a day. He created them to live in the garden. I think we were created to be in the sun. So I started asking myself, what is wrong with me that I can't go in the sun, right? Because they said I was allergic to the sun. So what did I start doing? I started researching. Do your research. PubMed is my friend. So I would go to the research articles and I would type in skin health and blah, blah, blah. And so many of them said antioxidants because we need sunlight. And I was told I couldn't go in the sun. I knew I needed vitamin D, which if you don't have enough vitamin D, your absorption isn't working, digestion doesn't work, everything else doesn't work right? And so I knew I needed it. So I went and did lots of research, and it talked about changing my diet. Okay, I already had a good diet. It said you needed to get lots and lots and lots of antioxidants and things like glutathione and to be able to make, because glutathione is one of the strongest antioxidants there is outside of what you get in fruit like berries. And so I was like, okay, well, how can I get extra glutathione? So then you have to be able to make glutathione because your body makes it. But what does it have to make it? It has to have sulfurzyme, which is a mineral. I'm like, oh my goodness, minerals again, because everything I kept coming to. So all that to say, I make sure that when I am in the sun, I get lots of antioxidants. I make sure I, in specific, with one particular juice drink, that liquid supplement that I use is called Ningxia Red. And because I've done lots of experiments on myself the last 4 or 5 years, and now I can get, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a beautiful tan. Like it's like a golden brown. Yes, I have freckles, but I have a beautiful tan. I never had that in my life. And I have to tell you, we have found out it's not that I was allergic to the sun. My skin was not healthy. It was the sunscreen along with the heat opening my pores that I was having a reaction to the chemicals in the sunscreen. So I am not saying not to use sunscreen. I'm saying use a good natural sunscreen, because I can honestly tell you, I was there for 5 days. I only applied sunscreen twice, and that was on my face, and I never got sunburned. This girl is a white girl. Like, I am white. You can't tell right now, but I'm a white girl. Like, I used to have porcelain skin. So I'm telling you, because I saw I had a need more vitamin D. I knew my skin needed the sunshine. I knew I needed to do something to help my skin be healthy to be able to be in the sun. So just saying, antioxidants to the rescue.
There you go. That's awesome. And that also, I mean, okay, so I hope you guys are seeing how a lot of these things are just kind of tying together and how they all come together, because we're just going back to nature. It's all tied together, right? So
can I mention one more thing, Keely?
Yes, absolutely.
And after the second day there in that sunshine, I could feel my mood completely shift. I know, and I have to say, I was going through a lot in my family. My sister had passed away. There was a lot of emotions and hurt, but I can tell you that me being able to get all that vitamin D and being in the sun, it shifted me emotionally. And I came home, and it's a week later. All right, go ahead.
That's awesome. That is so good. We didn't really mention it, guys, but check out blue light. Okay, blue light is actually a ray from the sun. Okay, the sun emits blue light. It emits all different types of spectrums. Okay, blue light is natural, but if you're just isolating one thing, it's not natural, right? If you're just pulling out one thing, I mean, that is actually what we're experiencing right now. Looking at our screens, we're experiencing an abundance of blue light. Okay. And when you do that, it has a negative impact on you, okay? So you might read about studies, you might hear about people talking about, hey, it's really good to help out your health by limiting your blue light at certain times. They are making blue light glasses, they're making things that kind of block at least a portion of blue light, but there's also a super easy way. A couple of hours before bed at night, turn off all your devices. Turn off all your devices, okay? Grab a book. If you're not ready to go to bed yet, that's fine. Read a book. It's excellent for you. There's also studies that show when you are scrolling on your phone, that motion of scrolling actually negatively impacts your adrenals. Your adrenals help control your stress, okay? Good or bad. And so if you're constantly doing this and stressing out your body, plus you're emitting blue light and EMF, guys, it's not natural, okay? It's not natural. So be resolved and say, hey, I'm going to be able to put this down. Guess who needed to hear that tonight? I'm being honest. I needed to hear that too, because sometimes it's easier to escape the world by just scrolling. Okay. That's me. I've done it too. But you know what I like to do? I love to read too. I can grab a book, I can read, and I can relax that way. I'm gonna start doing it. Yes, blue light glasses are great. That's a great way to do it. These actually just have a glare on them, but my next pair is gonna have blue light filters on it. So that way it'll help me, because I do work at a desk a lot of times too. Another thing I like to use for my eye health, and also for, because we're talking about kind of eyes and light and sleep, is Frankincense Essential Oil. I love this stuff, and I will actually use it. I'll diffuse it. I'll put it on topically, and it just helps me out in lots of different ways. You can go research it yourself as well. Honestly, research frankincense. There's an amazing amount of studies on frankincense that are really cool. So everything we've kind of covered tonight is very important for, we've already alluded to it, to the hot topic of 2020 and 2021. And we can't exactly say what that is right now, okay? But you guys are smart and you can figure it out. But everything we listed is getting yourself back to nature, is bolstering your immune system, okay? Every single thing we did today. And one of the easiest ways that you can do everything on our list, I'm going to screen share real quick. And Autumn, if there's anything else you want to add in, go for it.
Just real quick, if you don't know what a circadian rhythm is, it's your sleep-wake cycle. And I particularly was looking at a study today that really outlines specifically how blue light affects your circadian rhythm, and it hijacks it. Basically, your circadian rhythm is important for your optimum function. It's essential, really. And exposure, chronic exposure to blue light directly before bedtime, it says it may have serious implications on sleep quality, circadian phase, and cycle duration. And then when you mess with your sleep, you mess with your ability to heal, and your body's ability to deal with all the toxic load we throw at it. So anyway, that's just an extra point of why it's important. And I am definitely one of those people that needs to know that, needs to remind myself of that as well. So.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. That's excellent. Let me share my screen. And this way, guys, you're welcome to take a screenshot of it, or if you're watching this as the recording, you can pause it and check it out. This right here is just kind of like a call to action to help you take this information and apply it to you, because if you're just listening to it, it's not going to do you any good, right? You got to apply it. So here's something to help you apply everything that we talked about tonight. So my plan of action, I'll choose to take a certain amount of breaths at this time in the morning, this time in the afternoon, this time before bed. Just be intentional. When am I going to make sure I'm breathing and being you could try all the different breathing techniques we mentioned today. You could actually take in an essential oil and put a drop in your hand and breathe it in. It's going to help you in that way aspect as well. I choose to move and exercise because here's your why. Why am I going to move? Why am I going to exercise? What is that going to do for me? You figure it out. Everybody's motivated in different ways. I commit to being active this many minutes, a day, and this many times a week. You figured out, what can you commit to? Here's some statements. I will exercise at what time? With who? You could put a person, so you can have an accountability partner, or you could put what you're doing. Maybe you'll walk 3 times a week. Maybe you'll do yoga twice a week. However it works for you, just figure out your plan of action. I will choose to ground myself by, we gave you a lot of options for grounding, didn't we? Figure out what you could do. Figure out what works for you. I'll do it this way for this many minutes a day and this many times a week. I will choose to be in the sunshine by doing this, however you're going to do it, for this many minutes a day, this times a week. I will limit, and I misspelled that, limit my blue light. I guess that's the old English way or the French way, whatever. I will limit my blue light and my EMF exposure by doing this, at this time. So figure out, I mean, guys, be specific. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. Okay. At this time, for this many days, this many times a week. Let me stop the screen share and get back. So we mentioned walking. Walking can hit all those different things we talked about tonight. It can be, so you don't have to make this complicated. You don't have to be like, oh my goodness, that's 5 different things I got to think about every day. I can't even keep the rest of my day straight. How am I gonna do this? Walk, get yourself out and walk. And when you stop and rest, kick off your shoes and stick them on the ground. Seriously, you're grounding at that point in time. Make sure you're breathing right. And then it's, you probably will be breathing. You're also sweating at that point more than likely too. So you've done everything with a simple walk. Okay. I love how all these things come together. It's really not hard. It's not rocket science. It's free. Walking is free. Okay. Seriously. And like Tracy said, you could start with a little bit. Walk 1 minute and then walk back a minute. You seriously can start there. There is no shame. All right. You start wherever you are and do it. And if you need an accountability partner, you reach out to somebody. Maybe you don't have somebody, you might be like, oh, well, I don't have the time for them to walk with me. We don't have the same schedule. Okay. Put on a Bluetooth headset and talk to somebody while you walk. Accountability partner. Okay. No excuses, guys. We have no excuses. Let's do this. It's going to help us on our road to wellness. It's going to help us as we get back to nature. This was awesome. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're so excited. I'm going to stop the recording for now, but any of you are live, if you'd like to stay on and ask some questions. I will mention this. We did mention several different products that a lot of us like to use. They are from a company that we know and love. It's called Young Living Essential Oils. This company is amazing, and they are all about getting back to nature and honoring nature. Okay. You look at their ingredients list, you look at the scientific studies they do. It's amazing. It's an amazing company. And if you would like to try out any of those products to help you on your road to wellness, get with the person that invited you to the class tonight. Or if you're watching the recording, get with the person that shared the link with you. They'll be glad to help you be able to go find your own products and have them shipped directly to your house. It's super easy. There's different ways you can purchase. You can purchase a retail account. You can purchase as a customer, and where you get a 24% discount. And there's a really great, this is my personal favorite. You can actually have a subscription that will give you even greater discounts and have it shipped to your home. Okay. It's awesome. It's such a great company. Go research, check it out, ask us more questions about it. We're so glad that you joined us tonight. We'll see you next week on our Back to Nature series.